talk about what's included in the credit score. There are 5 categories. But before I get there, I do want to at least acknowledge those who may not even have a credit score yet. They haven't established it just yet. You're starting at zero. I started at zero a couple of years ago, so I know what that feels like. You hear everybody talking about a credit score. You don't have a score. How do I get started? I understand. So I wanted to make sure I at least acknowledge. It's very much possible for you to start with no credit score and build your way up, right? A lot of times it's sort of like a catch-22. You need credit in order to build credit, and you can't get credit because you have no credit. So it's sort of a catch-22 in that sense. So one of the ways, and I could just share my example, one of the ways that I decided to, start this credit journey was I did create a secured credit card. A secure credit card, you could go to any one of your financial institutions that you prefer, and you just ask them about a secured credit card. What it does is it's sort of like they will request a deposit from you, for example, $300. That $300 now becomes your rotating credit that will help you build over time. So let's say you have a $300 credit card, $300, they will take that deposit from you, they give you a card, and then they tell you, okay, now go ahead and use that card. You could use that card to buy gas. You could use that card to buy breakfast. You could use that card for anything, but you want to be mindful of how you're using the card because now you are establishing a payment history. And that's what we're going to go into now because that payment history takes up 35% of your credit score. So just for those who do not have credit yet, definitely seek out a secured credit card from your financial institution of choice and get started there. So what's included in the credit score? 35% is the payment history. That's the biggest piece of the score. Lenders want to see if you can pay your bills on time. This shows them that you are reliable. It shows them that you're lower risk of them losing their money if they lend it to you. Okay, so they want to see that you have a history of paying on time. Similar to the example that I gave you earlier, because that family member has a history of repaying the debt that they borrowed from you, you will more likely be willing to lend them in the future because of the payment history they have with you. That's the same approach the lenders are taking. The next we have amounts owed. So this is the credit utilization. This takes up 30%. It looks at how much of your credit you're actually using. Okay, so using less of your available credit shows that you are managing your debt really well and responsibly. If you have a credit card of $1,000 and you're always owing $800, $900 every month, this is actually reflecting negatively on your credit report to the lender because they're thinking that you're not managing your debt wisely or responsibly. So they want to see, they say typically is 10 to 30% of your credit limit that you want to have used or owed at the end of the month. Next, we have the length of the credit history. The longer you have your credit, the better. Longer history gives the lenders more confidence in your borrowing habits. And the reason why the length matters is because you're actually giving them a payment history. The longer the payment history, the more they're able to tell a better picture of how responsible you are with borrowed money. Now, if you have, let's say, 6 months of credit and you only have 6 months of payment history, while they will use that, compared to someone, or if you have someone have a credit for 5 years, that payment history is what they're also going to take a look into to see how well you're repaying your credit card back, that or any loan in general. Then we have new credit. That takes up 10%. So every time you go to like a department store and they say, hey, if you apply for a credit card today, you'll save 30% of your purchase today. And while that is very tempting, because I know sometimes that 30% could help quite a bit. You want to be mindful, okay? Because every time you do a credit, every time you apply for credit, it shows up as an inquiry. And too many inquiries at once can lower your score. And it shows lenders that you're taking on too much debt too quickly. So it's not bad that you are applying for credit. It's just that how frequent are you doing it could cause the lender to look at it a little suspiciously. Then we have a credit mix. Lenders love to see a mixture of different types of loan and credit. It demonstrates that you can manage different kinds of debt responsibly, like a credit card, student loan, a car note, all of these things, because technically they will all have different payment amount per month. So a credit card payment amount might be $100, right? But a student loan payment amount might, or a car note payment amount might be $400. So they want to be able to see how you are actually managing paying off multiple debts responsibly.
The biggest one here for some of us is payment history. And so one strategy is you do have a minimum payment, make sure that's paid, and then if you can, do the same amount a week or two later so that you are reducing how much you owe them. So if it's a challenge for you to pay it down, at bare minimum, do the payment on time because a late fee really, really dings your credit score a lot. And you will notice that you're probably looking at your credit scores in an app, either like Credit Karma or through your bank. And I don't know if you're talking about that today. So make sure that you at least pay the minimum payment. And then length of history, Krystle mentioned it. The longer you have it, the better. So that credit card that you got 4 or 5 years ago, keep it. Even though you're not using it, keep it. And then it's a really big puzzle that then now sometimes the creditor who gave you the money might decide that because you're not using it, now they're going to reduce your credit line as well. So keep that in mind. You have to play that game of, yeah, I know I'm going to keep that away so that I don't get tempted, but occasionally you kind of have to, and it will be the game of you just put in, let's say, put in gas in your car, and then immediately you get in the car, you transfer the money, and it's paid off, and then you put it away. So there's that.
What's a good baseline credit score that is appealing to lenders?
It will depend. So appealing is relative, and maybe Krystle go back to the slide that shows the cost. You are certainly able to get a loan with a credit score of 500, but how much is it going to cost you? We do realize that some of us are in that spot. I can't pay this rent anymore. I just want to get started. And you are at that point where you have it will take you a little bit longer to work on improving your credit score. That does happen. So you are able to get a loan with 500. It's just going to cost you more. And the reason why I present that side of you can still get the loan is that we also have the opportunity to refinance. And refinance just means I bought the house today. My credit score was 500. I've now learned all that I need from Krystle and Brenda and others on how to improve my credit. And now it is 5 years later. My credit score is 680 or 700. And so you refinance, which is you're buying your house all over again. So, what you would need to consider when you're refinancing is you're starting the clock over. So, if 5 years ago you got for 30 years, you will have now 25 years, but now you're starting the clock all over. So, you're resetting it to 30 years. And then interest rate is also not only what you're going to be charged on that loan is dependent on your credit score. The interest rate itself, that rate is dependent on the market. So right now
Mm.
we're in that market where the interest rates look different from what they did during COVID time. And so the market also does determine what the rates are going to be. But bottom line to echo is, yeah, 500 is feasible for you to be able to get that house. Keep in mind, as Krystle will briefly touch upon, it's not just credit score. Credit score is a starting point. We also need to be considering about the money you have saved that will go into purchasing the house as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.